Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's edition of Sheep Market USA. I'm your host, Lanny Brothers. On this week's edition of Sheep Market USA, we'll take a trip starting off in Pennsylvania, down to North Carolina, over to Kentucky, Billings, Montana, Colorado, and Pawnee, Oklahoma. So let's get things started with this edition of Sheep Market USA. And we'll start off this report in the eastern section of the United States in the New Holland Sheep and Goat Auction in New Holland, Pennsylvania. Total receipts on offer that day. Last sale report on April 17th was 4,093 head. Last sale on April 10th, 4,335. Last year at this time, 4,056. Now, compared to last week, wool and shorn slaughter lambs sold strong overall. Hair breed lambs 30 to 70 pounds were a little weak. Lambs 70 to 110 were strong. Ewes and hair ewes sold weak overall. Buyer demand was moderate, so was the supply for the slaughter sheep sale. As we start things off in the slaughter sheep and lambs, wool and shorn, choice and prime, grade 1 to 3. It was a pretty light test across the board there. Heaviest test coming in the 102-pound weight averages, bringing 317 to 320 with an average of 318.10. Moving on to a heavier head count across the board in the wool and shorn, choice, grade 1 to 3. The heaviest head counts come up in the 54-pound averages at 255 to 290, averaging 272.24, and also in the heavyweights, the 105-pound averages bringing 267 to 305 with an average of 282.84. 118-pound averages 190 to 235 with an average of $200.82, and the heavyweight 112s bringing 227 to 257 with an average of 241.58. Now we turn the page to the wool and shorn, good and choice, grade 1 to 3. It was a pretty moderate head count across the board there. Heaviest head counts coming in the 38-pound weight average, bringing 235 to 240 with an average price 238.63. Also in the 94-pounders, bringing 232 to 250 with an average of 234.59. And the yearlings coming in at 122-pound at 150 to 160 with an average price of 154.90. And turning to the hair breeds, choice and prime, grade 1 to 3, it was a very light test there and a very drastic wide weight range. The 55-pound averages brought 295, 105-pound averages brought 300. Hair breeds, choice, grade 1 to 3, a little bit more moderate test across the board there. Highest head counts coming in the 34-pound averages, bringing 258.42, and the 48-pounders bringing 245 to 275, average of 253.51. 56-pounders, 255 to 270 with an average of 263.91, and the 64-pounders brought 260 to 280 with an average of 269.27. And the heavyweights start lightening up again with the 76-pounders at 278.47, 81-pounders 285.74, 91-pound average brought 296.69, 105s brought 235.71, and the 155-pound averages brought 222. And taking a look at the hair breeds, good and choice, grade 1 to 2, another light test across the board there. 32-pound averages bringing 200, 65-pounders at 250, 73s at 255, 92-pounders at 245, 113-pounders at 160, and the 154 class at 125. Turning now to the ewes, good, grade 2 and 3. It was a light test across the board there as well. Heaviest head counts coming up in the 127-pound averages, bringing 117.46. The 173-pound averages brought 91.17, and the 169-pounders brought 123.83. Ewes, utility, grade 1 and 2. Best test there in the 122-pound average, bringing $70 to $85 with an average of 75.18. Hair breed ewes, good, grade 2 and 3. Best test there in the 123-pounders, bringing 90 to 115 with an average of 103.18. Ewes, utility, 1 and 2. Light test in that category, bringing 85 for the 95-pound averages and $70 for the 145-pounders. And we'll wrap up this sale looking at the bucks. That wraps up this report from the East Coast at the New Holland Sheep and Goat Auction in New Holland, Pennsylvania, with the sale report from April 17th here at Sheep Market USA. Up next, we'll stay on the eastern side of the United States in Shelby, North Carolina at the Cleveland County Agriculture and Livestock Exchange Sheep and Goat Auction in Shelby, North Carolina. Sale report for April 14. Total receipts on offer $599. Last sale on March 10th was $498. Last year at this time, $278. Now compared to last month, slaughter lambs were $10 to $20 lower and market demand was moderate on moderate offerings in all classes. Moderate offerings in the slaughter sheep and lambs, wool and shorn, choice and prime, grade 1 to 3. The 43-pound averages brought 120 to 145, average of 129.48. 51-pounders 130 to 177 with an average of 161.50. Moving on to the hair breeds, choice and prime, grade 1 to 3. Little bit heavier test there, but not much. 24-pound averages brought 62.22. 32-pound averages brought 55 to 105 with an average of 85.15. 42-pounders 75 to 150 with an average price of 110. 50-pounders 70 to 160 with an average of 120. 61-pounders brought 125 to 170, average price 151.82. And then we move into the heavier weights with a very light test. In the ewes, good and choice, grade 1 to 3. Pretty light test across the board there as well. Heaviest test there coming in the 128-pound average, bringing 155 to 265, average of 224, and 160-pound averages brought 245 to 330 with an average of $300. Hair ewes, good and choice, grade 1 to 3. It was a light test there as well. The 65-pounders brought $65, 75-pounders $85, 80-pound averages brought $126.67, 90-pounders bringing $145. The heavier weights with the highest head counts on the day at 129-pound average, bringing $221, and the 164s bringing $260. And we'll look at the bucks to finish out this report. And that wraps up this report from Shelby, North Carolina, the Cleveland County Agriculture and Livestock Exchange Sheep and Goat Auction with the sale report from April 14th here at Sheep Market, U.S.A. Now, let's head on to Kentucky and the United Producers Incorporated graded sheep and goat sale in Bowling Green, Kentucky with the sale report from April 13th. Total receipts on offer that day, 1,302. Last sale on March 23rd, 1,685. Last year at this time, 775. Now, lamb prices continued to remain steady with no price changes showing throughout the weight classes. As we start things off in the feeder sheep and lambs, the lambs, medium and large, grade 1 and 2, 42-pound averages brought 240. Hair lambs, medium and large, grade 1 and 2, 37-pound averages brought 235. And the medium and large grade 2 hair lambs, 21-pound average brought 180 per hundredweight. Now we turn to the slaughter sheep and lambs in the wool, choice, and prime, grade 1 and 2. It was a moderate test throughout that division, the heaviest test coming in the 67-pound weight class at 265 a hundredweight, and the 88-pounders bringing 260 a hundredweight. In the wool, choice, grade 2, pretty light test across that market. The 55-pound averages brought 232.50, 75-pounders at 250, 105s at 145, and the 150-pounders at 145 also. It was a pretty full house in the hair breeds, choice and prime, grade 1 and 2. 54-pound averages brought 247.50 to 265, average price of 252.22. 66-pounders brought 237.50 to 262.50 with an average of 239.72. Also, as we look at the hair breeds, choice, grade 2, 50-pound averages brought 237.50 per hundredweight, and 65-pounders brought 232.50. Moderate test in the hair breeds, good and choice, grade 2 and 3, 50-pound averages brought 225 a hundredweight, 70-pounders 217.50, and 85-pounders brought 175. Moving on to the ewes, choice, grade 2, light test there, 148-pound average brought 110. Good and choice, grade 2 and 3, 126-pounders brought 70.10 an average price, and the 166-pound averages brought 85. Choice, grade 2, little bit more moderate test there, with 84-pounders bringing 105 a hundredweight, and the 117-pounders bringing 115.62. Also in the good and choice, grade 2 and 3, light test there, 96-pound averages bringing $95 a hundredweight, and the 180-pounders brought 95 as well. And there we wrap up looking at the bucks. And that wraps up this report from United Producers Incorporated graded sheep and goat sale in Bowling Green, Kentucky for the sale report on April 13th, here on Sheep Market, USA. Now we're going to take a trip to the public auction yard sheep and goat auction in Billings, Montana for the sale report on April 17th. This sale total receipts $2,542, last sale on March 13th $1,469, and last year at this time $1,834. Compared to the last sale, feeder lambs were not real well tested as all lambs sold for slaughter. Demand for slaughter lambs was mostly moderate to good, and all slaughter lambs were too lightly tested to develop a full market trend. However, steady to higher undertones were noticed in all new crop lambs. And I'll warn you now, this is going to be a little bit of a lengthy report because of the sheer numbers that came out in each category. Now, the wooled and shorn in the slaughter sheep and lambs, choice grade 1 to 3, pretty light test in the lightweights. The 63-pound averages is when the head count starts to climb just a little bit. 63-pounders brought 230.88, 77-pounders 163.75, and 73-pounders brought 230.96 a hundredweight. 84-pounders coming in at 236.82. Also a pretty light test throughout the 95-pound weight classes, and 137-pounders brought 157.05, and the 108s brought 164 a hundredweight. Good and choice, grade 1 and 2, pretty light test there in that market. 89-pound averages bringing 155, 97-pounders bringing 141.10. In the hair breeds, choice, grade 1 to 3, moderate test there. The 80-pounders bringing 220, 83 pounds at 237.50, 97-pounders at 210, and the 113-pounders averaging 149.97 a hundredweight. Ewes, good, grade 2 and 3, the 181-pound averages brought 68 to 77 with an average price of 72.81. 178-pounders brought 78 to 82, average of 78.87. 203s were in at 73 to 76 with an average of 74.59. 202-pound average 77 to 78 with an average of 77.21, and the 203-pounders bringing 63.50 a hundredweight. Ewes, good, grade 3 and 4, pretty good test there, and the 212-pound average bringing 65 to 76, average price of 71.45, and the 256-pounders bringing 69.38. Ewes, utility 1 and 2, 137-pound averages brought 59 to 69 with an average price of 63.55. Pretty moderate test comparatively in the 135-pound class. 162-pounders brought 60 to 71.50 with an average of 65.75. And the 156-pounders brought 53 to 58 with an average price of 55.09. It was a moderate test in the ewes, cull grade 1 in the 126-pound averages bringing 49.54 a hundredweight, and the 124-pounders bringing 34.90 a hundredweight. In the hairbred ewes, good, grade 2 and 3, was a moderate test there as well. 119-pound averages bringing 95.92 a hundredweight, and the 129-pounders bringing 105 a hundredweight. It was a light test in the good, grade 3 and 4, with 190-pound averages bringing $65 a hundredweight, and utility grade 1 and 2, 113-pounders bringing 95. We'll look at the bucks, grade 1 and 2, pretty light test across the market. Heaviest test coming in the 212-pound average, bringing 68 to 78 with an average price of 75.53. Bucks, grade 2 and 3, 286-pounders bringing 64 to 75.50 with an average of 67.44 a hundredweight, and the hairbred bucks, grade 1 and 2, 133-pounders bringing 110, 110-pounders bringing 152.05, and the 152-pounders bringing $90 a hundredweight. And it was very light turnout there in the replacement sheep and lambs. And I'll wrap up this report from the public auction yard sheep and goat auction in Billings, Montana for the sale report on April 17th here at Sheep Market U.S.A. Now, our next stop on Sheep Market U.S.A. Centennial Livestock Sheep and Goat Auction in Fort Collins, Colorado for the sale report on April 19th. That day, there were 1,630 head on offer. On April 12th, 1,775. Last year at this time, 1,465. Compared to last week, wooled and shorn slaughter lambs sold unevenly steady, and feeder lambs sold $5 lower. Hair breed sold steady with a strong undertone noted. Ewes and bucks sold strong on a light comparison. We'll start off in that feeder sheep and lamb division. It was a fairly moderate test across the board, the medium and large grade 1. Pretty light test till you get up to the 46-pound averages, bringing 205 to 210 with an average of 205.87, and the 54-pounders bringing 205 to 210 with an average price of 209.09 a hundredweight. Also moderate test in the medium grade 1, 46-pounders bringing 265 to 270 with an average of 265.26, and the 50-pounders bringing 210. Moderate test across the board in the slaughter sheep and lambs in the wooled and shorn choice and prime grade 1 to 3. 61-pound averages bringing 215.29, 75-pound pound averages bringing 246.72 average, 83 pounders 230.85, and the 96 pounders 229.01, and the 109 pound heavyweights bringing 229.44. Choice and Prime grade 3 and 4 135 pounders bringing 160 to 165 with an average of 161.53, and the 153 pounders bringing 155. Choice grade 1 to 3 61 pounders bringing 195, 90 pounders bringing 210. Choice and Prime grade 1 to 3. It was a pretty moderate test across the board. The 64 pound averages bringing 220 to 250 with an average of 241.05. 73 pounders bringing 251, and the 101 group bringing 230. Now looking at the U's, good, grade 2 and 3, 125 pound averages brought 70 to 105 with an average price of 74.85. 138 pounders bringing 135, 132 pounders bringing 25 to 65 with an average of 40.49 a hundredweight. 159 pound averages brought 70 to 110 with a 86.05 the average there. 162 pounders, 112.50 an average price, and the 159 pounders brought 35 to 67.50 with an average of 57.18 per hundredweight. Good, grade 4 and 5, the 189 pounders brought 99.18 a hundredweight, 180 pounders brought 124.36 a hundredweight, 189 pounders 67.50. From there, it's a pretty light test till you get up to the 223 pound averages, bringing 62.50 per hundredweight. Grade 1 and 2, 161 pound averages brought 75 to 95 with an average of 82.38. 190 pounders brought 135, 217 pounders brought 72.50 to 102.50 with an average of 88.51. Also, the 209 pounders brought 64.42, 270s brought 110, and the 265 pounders brought 65 a hundredweight. And that wraps up this sale from the Centennial Livestock Sheep and Goat Auction in Fort Collins, Colorado for the sale report from April 19th here at Sheep Market USA. And that'll bring us around to the last sale report for this edition of Sheep Market USA. We'll travel down to Pawnee, Oklahoma, and the Pawnee Sale Barn Sheep and Goat Auction. The sale report from April 6th with total receipts on offer that day, $1,486. Last sale on March 16th was $501. Last year at this time, $1,281. Now, there was no recent test for the comparison or trends. The quality was average to attractive and included several large lots. Demand was moderate to good. Supply was a little limited on the feeder side, but very good on the slaughter sheep and lambs. So let's start off in that feeder sheep and lamb division. Very light test there, 30 pound averages bringing 151, 40 pound averages bringing 145. Now we move on to the slaughter sheep and lambs in the wool and shorn, choice and prime grade 1 and 2. It was a light test of the 48 pound averages bringing 223.50, 57 pounders brought 209 to 221, average 217.69. 65 pounders 217.50 to 220.50 with an average of 218.93. 69 pound averages 252.50. 122 pounders brought 122.50 to 195 with an average of 138.74, and a light test of the 153 pounders bringing 130 a hundredweight. In the hair breeds, choice and prime grade 1 and 2, 41 pound averages brought 232.50 to 245, average of 237.37. 58 pounders 245 to 263 with an average of 249.18. 61 pounders brought 265 a hundredweight. 76 pounders 241, and a light test there of the 95 pounders bringing 209 a hundredweight. Now we'll look at the U's. Good, grade 2 and 3. The 135 pound averages brought 81 to 87, average price of 84.46 a hundredweight, and the 174 pounders brought 80 to 87.50 with an average of 82.64 a hundredweight. U's utility grade 1 and 2, 140 pound averages, very light test there, 140 pound averages brought 76 a hundredweight. And that wraps up this report from the Pawnee Sale Barn in Pawnee, Oklahoma for the sale report on April 6th here at Sheep Market USA. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this week's edition of Sheep Market USA. I'm your host, Lanny Brothers. We appreciate you tuning in. If you would like to keep up to date with all the latest reports that we post online, make sure to subscribe to our channel and select the notification so you'll be notified. Don't forget to leave us a comment and give the report a thumbs up if you don't mind. So until next time, thanks for joining us at Sheep Market USA.